for 5 minutes of questioning.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The United States is facing an unprecedented biodiversity crisis. We've already seen our nation's beautiful monarch butterfly population plummet, and we've lost nearly 3 billion birds since 1970. More than 1/3 of our plant and animal species are currently threatened with extinction, putting ecosystems across America at risk. Our bedrock environmental laws are the only thing holding back a wave of extinction events, and the Endangered Species Act, or ESA, for the last 50 years has been 99% effective. This is thanks to the ESA's strong legal protections and associated recovery efforts. My colleagues argue that ESA is not effective and that only 57 species have been recovered. However, the ESA is supposed to be a tool of last resort. Species listed are either on the brink of extinction or risk becoming threatened. One ESA shortfall that we should address is that it's chronically underfunded, contributing to slow listing and slow recovery. This favors early prevention-focused actions in favor of reactionary life support actions once the species is listed. It then takes time, resources, and energy to bring a species back from the brink of extinction onto the road to recovery. Studies and advocates across the political divide have shown time and time again that we need to invest in species recovery and their habitats to lead to their successful delisting. I continue to hope that we can work together to pass legislation like Recovering America's Wildlife Act, or RAWA, which would make historic investments into species recovery, giving state wildlife agencies the tools they need to truly invest in wildlife conservation and recovery. Today's legislation, the ESA Amendment Act of 2025, would strip ESA protections, making it harder to protect wildlife. This act delays new listings while fast-tracking removals and narrowly redefines key terms to limit the law's reach. A major part of the ESA's success has been the implementation of successful candidate conservation agreements with assurances. If this bill were passed, it would weaken current and future agreements. Specifically, it would remove these agreements from Section 7 consultations, create additional workloads and deadlines for the plan approval, and limit federal oversight once the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services approves the plan. I have major concerns with asking our federal agencies to rework many of these agreements while the current administration is firing their best and their brightest. In my state alone, 15 highly experienced NOAA employees were let go, and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Agency fired 12 employees attached to the Great Lakes Sea Lamprey program. These actions have delayed this year's control program, which will cost our Great Lakes fishing economy hundreds of millions of dollars. Dr. Kriva, the ESA Amendments Act also blocks judicial review of delisting decisions for 5 or more years after a species is removed from the Endangered Species Act. Elon Musk's Doge operation has fired or put on leave many biologists and program staff who would be responsible for assessing the science and drafting rules to delist species. Without the scientific expertise in the agencies or the judicial check on the validity of the delisting action, will agencies be able to make politically motivated delisting decisions?
No, they will not. They'll be working in the dark, and they'll be totally blind.
How would we hold the administration accountable for ensuring a species is recovered pursuant to the Endangered Species Act?
Well, the 5-year limit is, before you can even review it, is a problem. Think about it if you had a marketing plan and the goals, and you decided, this is my marketing plan for the next 5 years, and no matter what data come in, no matter what happens, I'm not going to change it. That's what that's like. And so we need year-to-year field biologists out there telling us what's happening, and only then can we hold ourselves accountable and agencies accountable for doing what the Endangered Species Act is intended to do.
Thank you. Madam Chair, these proposed changes will only lead to species extinction, not species recovery. We need to work together to pass lasting investments in species recoveries. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I'm ready to work across the aisle to address the biodiversity crisis in a bipartisan manner. But sadly, we only keep hearing partisan attacks on our most successful environmental protection laws. I thank you and I yield back.